Because the bench press is one of the exercises that is most performed when people first begin exercising, it is also one of the exercises in which people build up the greatest number of bad habits and the exercise which people feel they need the least help with. So I'm going to get to this quickly. I will start with the most common mistake, which is simply grabbing the bar incorrectly, too high in the fingers, where the goal should instead be to grab the bar such that the weight is placed over the bones of the forearm, namely the radius and the ulna, which are the bones in the forearm that will actually be bearing the load and transferring the force through the chest and arms and into the bar. Instead, people typically grab the bar in the fingers, which forces the wrists to be bent back under the hand and put pressure on the wrist, elbow, and the shoulder. As you can see, the pressure can be placed on any number of tendons or ligaments or nerves that are in the hand that will be stretched out when the weight is placed in this manner. Picture number 1 shows the position of the bar in the hand, high in the fingers, forcing the wrist back, whereas we actually want to mimic position 2 seen here, where the bar is running across the hand diagonally. In this position, we can see that the bar will actually be trending toward the outside bottom edge of the hand, which will actually place the bar over the radius and ulna when the hand is in compression. Failure to observe these hand positions will result in a press that looks like this. The goal should be to instead have the bar sitting directly over the hand. In order to set this up, you will first grab the bar as shown in the first clip, showing proper hand positioning. This will force the elbows to be turned out, away from your body. So you will then want to tighten your upper back by driving the elbows in, as shown in the clip about to come up. You will then lower the bar down to anywhere between the top of the nipple line and the process of the rib cage where the rib meets the abs. Notice that in this position, the wrist is stacked directly over the elbow, ready to transfer force through the bones of the lower arm. As you press, you want to allow the shoulder to rotate naturally through the proper joint range of motion. This will cause the bar to move into a slight arc. At the end of that arc, the wrist will be balanced over top of the elbow, and the elbow will be balanced directly over the shoulder. There is no one proper grip width. You want to try to find a grip that allows the wrist to stay directly over the elbow. However, various grip widths will allow this to be observed. And it is a good idea to both practice with various grips and experiment with what works best for you. No matter what grip width you choose, you do not want to allow the upper arms to flare excessively. This is due to the actual structural makeup of the shoulder, in which there are several tendons and joints that have space between them that are supposed to allow the shoulder to move naturally. You can see that if the elbow flares to 90 degrees and the bar touches too high, that will force the elbow to raise up into the shoulder and force the shoulder joint to rub up against some of these tendons and muscles and bones, and you will then have the humerus rubbing up against the supraspinatus, the deltoid possibly rubbing up against the acromion process, and this can potentially cause pain in not only the shoulder, but the elbow or the wrist, anywhere down the chain of movement. And here I'll show the bar touching too high and causing those elbows to flare out. But also notice that the shoulder blades are not packed down, the legs are splayed out in front of me, not creating any tension, and the bar is causing the elbows to flare out excessively. Instead, we want to observe all of the other rules that we talked about, but you will notice that I'm also pushing my chest up to the bar, pulling the shoulder blades down under my upper back, and driving my feet into the floor. The final points that I will make are some subtle cues that you're going to want to observe before even unracking the bar and as you unrack the bar. The first thing that you're going to want to do is pull those shoulder blades down toward the hips in order to create tension in the upper back. You'll then push the chest up toward the bar in order to create even more tension through the back, and then drive the hip down. This will force the lower leg to push into the floor. My knee ends up way ahead of my ankle, but your ankle can be out actually slightly ahead of the knee. And I will then use the foot to push into the floor away from the bench as I press. So observe these things happening right here. And that's our quick overview of proper bench technique. Focus on all of those cues and have fun getting stronger.